Okay, let's do a second example. Call this beam 2. I am going to copy an image over here and paste it in here. So here's my beam. And let me also copy and paste in here the equations. So this is what you would do if you're doing this by hand, right? These equations right here. So again, what I do is I ignore anything. Actually, this is an interesting diagram here because it doesn't actually show you exactly what's going on. So what we're going to have to do is interpret this right here as a fixed support, a wall, right? So then I have this distributed load applied here and this bending moment applied there. So this bending moment is not an applied bending moment, it's a reaction at a support, whereas this is an applied bending moment, okay? So again, I'm going to ignore anything that's exactly on the ends and only model the stuff that's in between, and we'll take care of the other stuff later with boundary conditions. So I've got this Q of X. All you do is I start this distributed load right here, which I'm going to call W naught. It's going down, so that's negative. It's X minus A. I'm going to call this 3 inches here A. And then I'm going to have to shut it off because that ends here. So the way I'm going to do that is by, if this was negative, I'm just going to add it back, but not until B. So minus 20 inch-pounds starting at x equals 3, and then it shuts it off at x equals 7. So let's put these values up here. So this is going to be A and B, and let's say the total length is L. We'd also want these loads here, so W naught here, and I'm going to call just the bending moment out here M naught. That's the applied bending moment at the end. We're also going to need C1 and C2 for these unknown constants here. I'm going to name these like I've done before. So we're going to call that A. This we'll call B, and you have to hit return. This we'll call L. This we will call W naught. This we will call M naught. This we will call C underscore 1. And this we will call C underscore 2. Whoops, not, not a value of C underscore 2, but we're going to call this C underscore 2. Okay, so those all have their, now A is equal to 3, we said. B will be 7. The total length will be 10. And this W naught is 20. And M naught is 240. And I'm going to start with guesses here for my C1 and C2. Okay, we need values for X and V and M. We could do Q as well because I don't have any negative exponents there, but that's okay. Okay, I'm going to say this is equal to 0. And then this one down here is just going to be equal to L divided by 200. Plus whatever's above it. And then I'll just copy this down 200 cells. Ish. Okay. And again, I'm going to play the same trick. So I'm going to do highlight the 0 and then Control Shift down, and then call all of that X. So this entire column is now called X. Okay, the V, I'm going to have to interpret this, which I did by hand. You know, I did these by hand. All I'm doing is I'm saying here's Q is equal to minus W naught, X minus A, which means it starts here. The 0 means that's just constant, and then I'm shutting it off. V, I just bump up the 0 to a 1 in both cases and add a constant, and then I bump up the 1 to a 2 and also divide by 2. Whoops, I wrote that wrong. I'm just using this equation editor. Okay. But anyway, those are just, you know, this is how we do it on paper. But the problem here is that you can't use paper to plot. So we want to actually plot these. Okay, so all I'm doing is taking this equation and translating it into Excel. So I'm going to say this is equal to minus W naught times, and then what I'll do is I will just replace the angle brackets with the normal parentheses. So this is X minus A, close paren, raised to the 1. But then we have to multiply this by the switch that turns it on at A. So this is going to be an if statement. If X is less than A, then 0, otherwise 1, like that. So it just takes the angle brackets here, converts them to regular parentheses, and then uses this if statement as the switch that turns it on at X equals A. And then we're going to just copy this and add that, but make it happen at B instead. Okay, so again, we're starting the distribute load here and then shutting it off. Don't worry about this yet because that happens at the end. So does this. Okay, so if I just hit go, then that does all that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come with this formula bar, copy all of this stuff here, hit escape, come over here, back up to the formula bar and paste it. And now I can just change this to a 2 divided by 2, and I can change this to a 2 divided by 2. Oh, and I forgot my constants, did I? All right, let's go back to the shear force. This has to say plus C1, which is right here. And this has to have that plus C1 times X plus C2. Okay, so that's copied down successfully. Okay. That should be good. Now all we got to do is do the solver. So I am going to pull up the solver. Notice that since this happened to be sitting there, that's what comes up here. Again, I want to just delete this and instead say I want to change these two guys right here and start adding boundary conditions. Okay, I don't know what the bending moment or shear force are here because I haven't done statics. Those are the reactions at the wall. I do know that the shear force here is 0. So I'm going to say the shear force at L, right? So that's way down here now. So this guy right here better be equal to 0 because there's no applied load at the end and no support at the end, right? There's no shear force here. And then I'm going to add a boundary condition that the bending moment at the end is positive M naught. Positive because this is smiley, right? So this cell down here at the end, this one right here better be equal to M naught. Okay, there's my two things. I'm going to uncheck this and then say solve. Okay. Now if I just do those guys and hit Control Shift down arrow, that highlights that entire thing. And I can do insert XY scatter plot. And there is my shear force. Notice it starts this. So this 80 right here is now what that R1 is, right? So it starts out with this R1, comes down here, gradually comes off as this distributed load's pulling down, right? So this is 4 inches right here, so that's a total of 80 pounds. So it starts at 80, goes down to 0, and then there's no more distributed load, so it just ends at 0, which is our boundary condition. Okay. All right, I'm gonna copy this and paste it. But now I'm going to move, click on this, move this over to the M column, and there is my bending moment. So I start here at a negative 150, which means this will be bending down initially. This is not enough to prop up that distributed load. So this distributed load is going to be bending it down initially. It'll cross 0 here and then come up to the applied bending moment of 240 right there. So there's the shear force and bending moment diagrams for that beam in Excel.